Illini Basketball Podcast, episode number 102, February 24th, game day, game night, whatever you want to call it. Illinois plays tonight in Champaign against Ohio State. Ohio State ranked 22nd in the country, barely escaped Indiana on Monday. That was a close game. But if you look at the historical factors, the Buckeyes have I would say owned Illinois for the most part in the last 20 years, but I don't think any of that matters right now. So, something to think about. Illinois 12-4 in the Big Ten, 19-7 overall. Ohio State 17-7, 10-5 in the Big Ten. So they've played less overall games, but they have one less game in the Big Ten. So one more to go after Illinois, at least in terms of numbers of games remaining.
Yeah, I think they got to make up a game with Iowa or something because they had some COVID stuff. So
yep,
they'll get that made up. But
FS1, not sure what ESPN's up to tonight. I guess they got other things going on.
It must be the doubleheader, right? And then what FS1 does?
Yeah.
Who's in front of them? It's got to be another Big Ten game, right?
You would think that would be the case, but I don't know. Yeah, Maryland
got to win out.
Maryland, Indiana.
Yeah, so I mean, Illinois controls their own destiny right now. Basically, if they win out, they can at least have a tie for the Big Ten title. I believe it would make them a 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament if Purdue also wins out. So they need to get it going for both halves would be a big thing. RJ Melendez is out due to emergency appendectomy, and I don't know what that entails. Some people, when I was reading, some people said he'd be out 4 weeks. Some people said 10 days. So we'll see if he makes it back this year. If he doesn't, and then Bosman's Verdonk is out with a concussion from the poke in the eye. So apparently the finger went all the way to his brain or something. I don't know.
Do you think this team is going to set the record for most concussions in a basketball season?
I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
I mean, my God.
Caleb said, "What's up with Goody?" I think RJ has just been taking his time. I think we'll see Goody tonight. Illinois is going to need some length somewhere against Ohio State, so I'm guessing that we're going to see him somewhat. Brad was also asked about Pajemski, and he said that Brandon has been tremendous in practice, but he has a bunch of veterans in front of him, so that's why Pajemski's not playing.
I think we'll see him tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some guys that we haven't seen play a few games, just because, like I said, Illinois needs some more length. They're going to have to find a way to stop Branham, but and then also Liddell. I think Ohio State's a tough matchup for Illinois.
Yep.
All said and done, they had. It seems like they have 2 of those big guys that Illinois usually can't handle with Liddell. And then Branham, you have a 6'5". He plays like he's 6'7", I would say. But maybe sit Williams. I doubt we see Williams sitting much tonight.
He's got to play.
They're going to need his defense tonight. So I don't think you're going to see that much. I thought it was interesting after the Michigan State game. Brad said that Kofi was mad at him that he didn't yell at him enough for his ball screen defense. He said that Kofi and him have that unique relationship, and Io and him had it too. So apparently he needs to yell at Kofi a little bit more to make him play better defense. And
all right.
I think so. You might see some red-faced Brad Underwood tonight yelling at Kofi for his bad defense. So.
Good. Need it.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at these 2 teams. I agree that it's not an ideal matchup for Illinois, but I also think that if Liddell is not playing the 5, which I don't think that he will,
right,
like he did at times last year, I think that makes it easier if it's Young or Key down there. They're much smaller than Kofi, and they're not really threats to get outside and shoot.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Kofi will be able to have a big game against this team, but I expect them to double a lot on him. Um, People are going to have to hit shots around him, kind of like how Grandison did. We're going to need Plummer to figure it out, and Trent to shoot with the confidence he shot that last shot with against Michigan State. So
Yeah.
that's what Illinois is going to need. Branham is the guy that scares me the most. Honestly, just with his length, with the way he can get to the basket. Kofi's going to have to try to stay out of foul trouble, and I that worries me. I think this is going to be a really close game, but it's that Malachi Branham. I would guess maybe DeMonte's on him. I really don't know who you have guard him, but I would assume DeMonte, which leaves EJ Liddell being guarded by Grandison. You think we see a lot of Hawkins this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it would make sense to use Hawkins in some way, and obviously he's going to play. I just don't know how much he's going to play. And
Yeah, I guess it depends on how good he is when he does.
yeah, and if Grandison is shooting the ball well early in the game, I think that'll determine some of that as well.
True.
But
Yeah.
I think you look at the last 3 seasons between these two teams, it's 3-3. They're 3-4 in the Underwood era, 2-6 in the Gross era, and 6-11 in the Weber era. And most of those wins obviously came mid 2000s for Bruce Weber, even though the one season where they go undefeated until they lose to them at the end of that season. So Illinois won the last 2 of these. They beat them 73-68 at Ohio State. I believe that was the game where Iowa returned with the mask after almost getting murdered at Michigan State. And then obviously Big Ten championship game last year, overtime, 91-88 win for Illinois. Illinois 0-2 against them at home in the last 3 seasons. The first one was 2018. Early in that season, one of the first non-conference or one of the first conference games, they lost by 10. They were 2-7 at that point. The lineup was Aaron Jordan, Io, Trent, Georgie, and Kipper Nichols. So things have changed, I would say, since that team.
Yeah.
It's gotten a little bit better, I would think. And then obviously last year at home, they lost to them 87-81. That was an early Saturday game, I believe. Very weird game. One of those early 11 a.m. games where Illinois didn't show up.
Awful, yeah.
I think that Illinois shows up on the road at 11 a.m. more than they show up at home at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah. Hawkins will get his fouls in as soon as he comes in. Yeah. Coleman Hawkins finds a way to foul guys even when he's not even around them. So
I think Payne has mastered the art of racking up fouls pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, they're one in the same, those two. But
I mean, it saves Kofi from some fouls, I think, in some way.
Yeah.
You're
not wrong. You're not wrong.
But this is going to be a big test. Big test. I mean, they're 10th in adjusted offensive efficiency. They obviously don't have a great defensive team. They're 91st in that. So you don't have to be too worried about scoring. I think scoring, I mean, you look at the last 2 games, they scored 91 against them last year, 81 against them. I know it's a different team. I honestly, I think last year the roster was better just because of Washington and a couple other impact guys. But the thing is, Branham is a better player at this point than I think. Well, I don't know. Dwayne Washington was really good, but Branham is just bigger.
Right, and Branham seems to be getting confidence too. That's the scariest thing about him. He had 27 against Indiana. He had 22 against Iowa. For a guy that averages 11 points, he's averaged around 17 the last 5 games. So he's really coming into his role with Ohio State, where Ohio State, there's not a lot of guys you're worried about scoring. EJ Liddell used to be that guy. Now they have another guy. And then the other ones are just, if they do something, they're doing okay. But this is a 2-headed beast, and you gotta cut off one of the heads. So I think Malachi Branham will probably be an easier head to cut off because he is a freshman. He's coming into the State Farm Center. It's an orange out. Apparently it's a sellout crowd, even though the weather's not great here in Illinois right now. So we'll see what kind of crowd shows up. Right now, you can currently buy tickets for $27 on StubHub. So we'll see what kind of crowd shows up. But yeah, they're good offensively, but after those two, they're really not a lot. And you're right. Brad even said it. He said, "Thank goodness Dwayne Washington isn't here, because they would be another level above than what they are." So,
yep. I mean, it's just it's a different team this year. If Dwayne Washington was there, that would even justify my pick of them winning the Big Ten preseason even more, because this team would be, I mean, really, really good. But they already are good. They're 26th in 2-point percentage, 27th in 3-point percentage. They don't turn the ball over very much. I think the matchups is kind of where things get a little bit difficult. I mean, obviously, Jamari Wheeler, 6'1". I mean, Plummer's going to guard him.
yeah,
No
doubt.
I mean, if Plummer's defense ever improves at all, that'd be great, but I don't see it.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you've seen guys score against Plummer that usually don't score as much. Jamari Wheeler averages 7 points. I'm guessing he's going to make double digits tonight.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just one of those things you expect. So you need Plummer. Plummer has to figure out a shot, or I could see him on the bench a lot. Curbelo's going to play over him.
Yeah, it could happen. Eugene Brown III. I mean, he's 6'6", but I feel like Frazier's got to guard him.
Yeah.
I don't really see any other way, especially with you don't really want Frazier on Branham. That doesn't really make much sense.
I think Branham would just post him up all game, don't you?
Yeah.
And then Branham would kick it over as Kofi inevitably comes over to play defense and then jumps, while the guy's still standing on the floor, and then it's an easy pass off to the other guy. So,
yeah, and I mean the thing with Brown is that he's not much of a scorer. 3 points per game. Let's see. He had 10 points against Indiana, 14 earlier in the season against IUPUI, who's like the worst team of all time, and Bowling Green. So only 3 times in double digits. So I feel like but the other thing is like, the problem here is that I would much rather see Trent guard Jamari Wheeler, but you can't do that with Plummer. So
right.
It's just that's where the problem is. But I mean, I think you got to have DeMonte on Branham. Unless maybe you throw him on Liddell, maybe I don't know. It's not that much of a difference between the two, other than Liddell's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and I could see that because Liddell's more of a pounder, back to your basket type player, where Branham is a guy trying to get around you, get to the basket, and I think DeMonte is not as good at that as a pounder type guy. So I could see Grandison, on Branham, and then DeMonte on Liddell.
DeMonte knows Liddell much more, and I think that's probably something to think about. Like, they played many times, and I mean that would probably make sense. Then obviously Zed Key or Kyle Young, whoever's in, they're both going to play probably a good amount of time against Kofi. Neither of them, I mean, Key more than Young is more of an actual offensive threat, but I think that I'm not too worried about Kofi's matchups in these games. I mean, I think that there's going to be a lot of fouls called on Zed Key and Kyle Young tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And
Kofi's got to make free throws.
Kofi's got to make free throws.
It's every game. Every game is like this, It's just we'll see how they implement that. I mean, if I'm Chris Holtman, I do consider having lineups with Liddell at the 5. Like, I think that's one way that you can get to this Illinois team. And then off the bench, they do have some scoring off the bench. If you remember last year against Illinois, you had Justin, what's his name? Justin Aarons, who was playing way more minutes than he has been recently. He was playing like 25 minutes a game early in the season. Don't know if he's dealing with an injury or something, but he only played 8 minutes against Indiana, and he hasn't really been doing much at all. But last year against Illinois, he had 11 points and 3 of 5 from 3 in the first game.
Yeah, and that's kind of his only strength is his 3-point shooting. So just got to close out on him. And again, he's 6'6", so I'm guessing that maybe Trent guards him when he comes in. I don't know. There's going to be interesting matchups, I think, this whole game, and as long as Illinois can capitalize on those matchups, I think they'll be all right. But
yeah, I think they're in a position where they're going to have to figure out the matchups and how to use them. Like I said, I think Holtman. Why not put Liddell? Have a lineup with Liddell at the 5? I mean, like it kind of worked for them last year when they did it at times. So
and him playing the 5 and trying to move Kofi out, beyond the 3, or getting inside and getting Kofi off his feet and getting him in foul trouble. That's the thing. Liddell's a very smart player. He finds ways to do things. So hopefully Kofi can stay out of foul trouble and Illinois can get this win. I think it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, and the matchup is the matchup. I thought LSU was a bad matchup for Kentucky last night. Kentucky flipped the script and won that game easily in the second half. So you could say this about this matchup, but
yeah, you got to play 2 full halves, and Illinois has been struggling to do that. Hopefully they come out and they just beat the crap out of them, because I think Ohio State, when Liddell's not doing anything, and if you can get Branham out of control, they don't have a lot of answers.
One thing that Liddell does that's underrated, I think, is shot blocking. Like, he against Iowa, before that game kind of fell apart for them last week, he was, every single time.
Yep.
And it's a little different with Kofi because Kofi's much bigger than anyone on Iowa.
Right.
But that's a big part.
Liddell has some hops for. I'm not saying that he's overweight, but he's a hefty dude. Does that make sense?
He's like a I can't even think of a comparison, but I had one in my head and then I lost it. So,
Yeah. Like he's not as big as Ron Harper Jr., but he carries. I don't know,
6'7", 240. To give you a reference point,
he's a big dude.
To give you a reference point, you got guys like Jacob Grandison, who's 6'6" and only 210.
Yeah.
So, or for an even better example, Coleman Hawkins 6'10", 215. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? But wait till Dane Danger gets into town. All right.
He's apparently been working out 3 days a week with Fletch. He's dropped like 25 pounds or something. So
if they can figure out how to use him properly and get him he's going to be a weapon next season. Yeah. He might be like a 14-7 guy or something, which is pretty good for college hoops.
Yeah.
Maybe 24-7 if he really wants to go for it. But he's going to change the dynamic of the team next year. And that's one reason to think that they're not going to take too big of a step back with what they're going to lose. But you never know.
If they lose anything.
Well, Frazier and DeMonte have to go, unfortunately.
Right.
Maybe not, though. I don't know. You never know with these rules. They might
COVID might come back. It might
play for the rest of time. just play as long as you want. Play till you're 40. Why not?
Yeah.
So you look at the trends here. Luke Goody has played 3 minutes in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And taking a step further, he's played 14 minutes in the last 6 games. Then you look at Podge. He's played 1 minute in the last 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's screwed. I don't know. What do you want me to say? 3 for 13 from 3 on the year, by the way, is Podge, but 5 for 6 inside the arc. So that's pretty good. But anyway, I think we'll see both of them tonight. We'll see though. Who knows how the game's going, flow of the game, that whole thing. I think Ohio State's better, but this kind of gives me Wisconsin coming into Champaign vibes a little bit. I think Illinois can overwhelm them a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they'll come out and play poorly. I guess the difference is that Wisconsin had the length in the interior. They didn't have the weight or the actual skill. I would say, like Stephen Krause scoring 20 points against Minnesota last night seems impossible. But I guess it happened.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know why you got your hopes up with Minnesota last night. Jeez.
I don't know.
They're a joke.
I was just hoping, man. We need Wisconsin to lose one. Need Wisconsin to lose one. Illinois, I mean, Illinois is at home for 3 of the last 4. They go to Michigan Saturday. You don't seem to have any problem with Illinois going into Michigan and beating them. So, but I assume that's the one game that Ken Palm predicts them to lose.
Yeah, it is.
But they have this game that's I think is going to be a tough game, and then Iowa's been coming on lately. So
all of a sudden Iowa's like the greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
Like when are we? And then like 2 weeks from now we'll be talking about how they don't play any defense.
Yeah.
Wow, stunning.
So the schedule is not easy for Illinois down the stretch.
I don't think they're going to win the Big Ten regular season, so I'm not even really worried about that. I'm more so worried about seeding and matchups for the Big Ten tournament.
I just want them to be a 2 seed, so we don't have to leave at 8 a.m. to go to the Big Ten tournament.
Well, a 2 seed is like, that's whatever. But you 2 or 3, you're fine. You don't want to slip to 4.
Right.
I mean, last year they were a 2 seed. And they got.
I mean, it kind of depends where it all shakes out, right? I mean, because technically, currently, I believe Wisconsin's 1, Purdue's 2, and Illinois' 3. So slipping to the 4 wouldn't be that bad in that scenario.
So, I guess technically, since if Illinois wins tonight, that would put them back at 2, and then Wisconsin at 3. Because how would Wisconsin be ahead of Illinois if they're both 13-4?
So that if when Illinois and Wisconsin are both 13-4, Illinois would be the 1. When it's Purdue, Wisconsin, and Illinois all tied, I believe that it goes by game by game, right? Or it goes by the teams that are tied and their record against those other teams. So Illinois would be 1-2. Wisconsin would be 1-1.
1-1, yeah. That's so
and
dumb.
Purdue would be 3-0.
That's so dumb.
So I think that it would fall to I don't know. It doesn't matter until the end, but that's how they do it. It's by your records against the teams you're tied with.
Well, the way they do it is stupid.
I agree.
And of course the Big Ten's that dumb.
I agree.
What a joke.
Yep. But
well, I guess we'll do a prediction.
If anybody out there has predictions, drop them in the comments. We'll let people know what you think too. However, our predictions are the only ones that matter. So I'm predicting a really close game. I think Illinois squeaks one out. Maybe, Trent, maybe Illinois is down 1. Trent hits a 3 to go up 76-74. Illinois fans rush the court because that's what you do these days is, you rush when you're a 6-point favorite or whatever. So Illinois by 2, 76-74 is my prediction. I don't know what the spread is.
7.5 is what I saw.
7.5?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Down to 7 now, but
Ooh.
Wow.
They don't like Ohio State.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's shocking.
I think Illinois covers 82-74. I was tempted to put 82-64. That's how much I like them tonight.
Okay, all right.
I think that
you like Ohio State, but you also think they're frauds at the same time, don't you?
I think that going into Illinois is much different.
I agree.
Than playing at home against them, even though last year was the opposite.
Yeah,
I don't think that this year. I think it's a little bit different because I think tonight is sink or swim for Illinois. Like if they're going to finish 3-1 in the regular season or 4-0 to finish the season, they got to win tonight. Start that. Are they going to get hot like they did last year, or are they going to kind of fizzle out, finish 2-2 to finish the season, and then maybe make a Big Ten tournament run or just lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, get like a 5 seed? We're screwed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. It's go time. It's time to win them all. So,
but the Michigan State game was a good win. Rutgers was a buzzsaw situation. Purdue was a buzzsaw situation. So, overall in the Big Ten, they've pretty much won every game they're supposed to win, except for Maryland, I would say. And if you look at, Purdue twice, you'd like to win one of those. Probably should have figured out a way to win one of those.
At home, yeah.
Rutgers was a buzzsaw. So, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of things to shake out. Wisconsin and Purdue still have to play each other once. Wisconsin has to go into Rutgers Saturday. So a lot can happen still.
This is also a situation where Illinois went 16-4 in the Big Ten last year. So all I got to do is win the next 4, get the same record. And then Ohio State went 12-8. They're going to finish 2-3 to finish the regular season probably. So they'll go 12-8 again. Why not?
There you go.
Just kind of history repeat itself, except in this version, Illinois is going to win it all. So that's just something to think about. But do you want to get real quick as we end this into the whole Jeff Goodman thing from earlier? Because, people probably want our thoughts.
I think that he's fair in saying that Illinois fans whine a lot, especially on that platform. And you have, I wouldn't call them beat writers, but you have guys that, have sites and stuff that, tweet at him every time John Ivy has a bad game. Johnny Davis. I'm just confusing them all. Johnny Davis has a bad game. The whole crazed Illini fans tweet at him asking about, him and why they're not posting about him and all this stuff. I don't feel like I've seen a lot of people say that, that Kofi has had 2 bad games and it was Purdue and Arizona.
It's fans of those teams or fans in the Big Ten that say that more than actual, analysts.
Than analysts. So I think he has a fair point. I'm not going to argue with him. I don't believe that Johnny Davis, Johnny Ivy gets any flack. Johnny, I just found out of the game, Davis gets any flack when he has a bad game. So I do understand their point to that. I don't think either of these two are going to be National Player of the Year. So does it really matter? Do we really care? We talked about this earlier. I care more about Illinois making a deep run in the tournament than Kofi winning National Player.
I think Kofi cares more about that too, probably.
Yes.
And the other thing is, one thing I don't understand is how a player can be National Player of the Year when they're not the best player in their conference. I don't get that.
I agree.
But if you're talking about value to his team, this is not most valuable player. It's Player of the Year. If it's most valuable player, then you have a great argument for Johnny Davis because most of his team, outside of Wall and Davison, who shows up sometimes, they suck. So I don't think people talk about that.
And I think E.J. Liddell is having a better season than Johnny Davis.
Keegan Murray.
Yeah.
I don't understand, the biggest problem that I have with it is it just seemed like after Johnny Davis lit up Purdue, everybody was just latching onto that and they weren't going to go away.
Yeah. Yep. And everybody knows how bad Purdue's defense is.
Yeah.
Right?
And especially at that point in the season. I mean, they were playing zero defense.
Yeah.
And Johnny Ivy was doing nothing about it.
Johnny Ivy got nothing.
Yeah. So. And also Johnny Davis's brother is better than he is. So
yeah. Johnny, I'm not as good as Jordan Davis.
Boom. I mean, everybody saw that layup last night with like a minute 30 left.
Guy had 7 points. I'm pretty sure Johnny Davis only had 8.
And Johnny Davis's bad games where he scores like 20 points, like against Illinois, for example, nobody's going to look at that as a bad game because he had 20 points. But guess what? He had 10 of them from the free throw line.
Yeah.
And he was like 4 for 15 from the field. So people need to just calm down.
And Johnny Davis travels more than any other player in college basketball. And I will die on that hill. But
there's also no such thing as traveling anymore, really. So
there should be. So, but Johnny Davis, best rebounder in the Big Ten, though. I will give him that.
And best rebounder in the country is Oscar Tshiebwe, who should win National Player of the Year. And you could say, well, he's not the best player in the SEC. Yeah, he is. I literally don't care. Yeah. Oh, he can't shoot. Still don't care. Yeah. So, it's Walker Kessler. Who? I mean, Walker Kessler's not even the best player on his own team. Jabari Smith is better. Wow, Walker Kessler's so good because he can block shots as an 8-footer. I mean, give me a break. What a joke.
I'd take Walker Kessler on our team next year.
I would too. Put that in writing.
Yeah.
But it's just like, come on. Tshiebwe is throwing up like 80 rebounds a game.
I mean isn't Goodman the guy that has the rankings of craziest fans? And Illinois is like 2. Like us, So he knows. I mean, he's not.
He knows what's what. I mean, he's a guy who gets it.
It is what it is. I love you, and don't hate me, Illini crazy Twitter. I love you guys, and you guys keep doing what you're doing because at the end of the day, who really cares? It's all about fun, right?
Yeah, here's the thing, okay? Sheboy, 16 rebounds, 14 rebounds, 15 rebounds, 19 rebounds, 14 rebounds, 15 rebounds, 17 rebounds, 14 rebounds, 22 rebounds. Okay, that's just a sample, and those are all SEC games, and one of them was Kansas. So it's like national player of the year right there. And also,
Can he score a little bit more though, please?
Okay, please. I mean, give me a break. But here's the thing: Johnny Davis isn't even a good shooter, so you can't even bring up shooting when you
That's my biggest thing. Is he is not a good shooter.
And he's had like 2 or 3 games where he was actually a good shooter. And
Yeah.
Purdue was one of them because Purdue was not guarding him.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those stupid things. Like, and other thing for Big Ten Player of the Year, it's like, who cares? I mean, who's going to win Big Ten Player of the Year? I don't care. And also, do they base that off of the entire season or the conference?
There's literally, 5 guys that could probably win it. And if any of them won it, I don't think you could say, oh, no, they didn't deserve it. So,
yeah, you got Murray, Davis, Kofi, what's his face? Liddell, and then I guess Ivy or Edie would be. I mean, I would take Ivy over.
Caleb says Illinois by 7. So if you got him at 7.5, you're losing.
Yeah, I mean that's not going to be a worse beat than the Kansas State thing. Did you see that?
Yeah, where Kansas.
Oh my God.
I think so. Yeah. Was that
team total was 76.5.
I think
they had 76 points with 5 minutes left. They went 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 4 from the line.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Couldn't get 1 point in 5.5 minutes.
Pretty bad. And like 3 of those shots went in and out. So that's just getting screwed. But all right, Illinois, Ohio State tonight, 8:00. I looked at the announcers. I can't remember who it is though. I think it's Kevin Kugler and Jim Jackson. I think Jim Jackson went to Ohio State, so that'll be interesting to hear his Stephen Bardo attempt, I would say. We'll see if he does, do that. I believe, he went to Ohio State. So yeah, we'll see. See if he, does what Bardo does. And I don't even know if I want to listen to that.
Apparently, Bardo was last night was talking about how Jawan, was probably watching the game from home and how he felt so bad for him. So good work, Bardo.
Thanks for that brilliant analysis. All right. So Illinois is back after this game on Sunday, 1:00, CBS. So it'll feel right, being back on CBS, get ready for the tournament, the conference tournament, the whole thing. Yeah. I don't know who's going to be doing that game. I hope it's somebody that doesn't suck, but you never know. Right. So I mean, they don't really have anybody. I mean, Ian Eagle would be a good one there. Or I don't know if Jim Nance is doing golf Sunday, but
don't act like you don't sit and watch the games and do your own commentary and you just turn it down.
Yeah, I would never do that. But I'll tell you this right now: Illinois, Ohio State tonight, 8:00. I didn't want to wait that long, 2.5 hours pretty much till the game. Don't want to wait that long, but I guess you have to.
Big win.
But we'll see. Big game tonight. I don't know when we'll be back. I mean, we probably could just do tomorrow to talk about this game and then talk about Sunday's game. So, all right, we'll be back next episode 103. We'll see you then.